Hey everybody, that's so slow. I didn't know it was happening. I wonder why it's moving so slow. Well, we're going. It seems like it's smooth now. I've been super busy. We're filming more stuff. We're starting up with Nikki's and my date night back again. Hey, always fresh. How you doing? We shot them into 2021, I think, and I'm sure we did. And then, as soon as we got everybody back, we stopped doing them. So that's happening, and it's a lot of stuff, actually, quite a bit more than I even recall. But we've been busy and raining, and finally stopped raining this morning, which I guess we have a week's break, and then there'll be a little bit more, but I don't know if it's going to be the same intensity, because it's been pretty heavy for us. I mean, California, Southern California, we don't get a lot of rain. So we always joke that, when it does rain, everybody's freaking out, and it's not even that much, just it's raining, but because, snow and things like that are worse. And rain is definitely worse elsewhere. We did get a lot. But the issue is like we have hillsides that get burned, and so then they don't have the growth that'll hold the mudslides, or anything like that. So we have had no mudslides here, thankfully. We're in the part of Los Angeles that got like the most rain. But the runoff is the concern, and we looked at the LA River tributary that is near us, and it was not beyond. Now, this was probably not at the heaviest rain. It was pretty heavy though. And it was still below the drains coming into the channel, so it was pretty good. Scored a personal best on Sprawlopolis. Oh wow, Nikki loves that. 10-year record snow dump. Where are you at? Oh, Nova Scotia. Yeah, holy cow. I mean, it's definitely a lot more rain. A lot more precipitation. And for us, we need it. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to complain. We absolutely need rain. Southern California. We have to get it regularly, or we're just going to be in trouble. So, ultimately, I don't know what'll happen. We probably will end up having some dry spells again, and that's always why. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and so my knowledge of is that you're always in a drought. Even back then, they did things like put jugs filled with water into toilets so that your toilet flushed less before they had low flow toilets and things like that. And then a bucket. We've always had a bucket in the shower so that when you're waiting for it to warm up, we just let that water go into the bucket, and then we take, we leave it, actually don't have it in the shower, it's just out of the shower. Some people leave it in, but I don't want soap and stuff in there, because we're gonna water plants and things like that. Maybe flush the toilet with it, it's crazy. Add wind for rain and fire. Yeah, we've had lots of fire. We've had a lot of wind though. That has been my kind of gripe. We've been using, we have the Amazon Echo, and it gives you warnings like constantly. And before I left, because I was in Dallas last week, before I left, it was just constant warnings about the wind. We're like, we get it. And then it was the same thing when I get back. We started getting the rain, and they're like, flash flood warnings. We had a thunderstorm warning last night, which is super rare for Southern California. But we're doing okay, and we're happy, and it's just tons to do. We actually need to deal with some of the spring stuff already, because we're having so much rain and it's actually warm enough. Let's see here. I got everything working, I believe. I said it's always fresh says responded to some of my stuff. I know that you can hear me, which is wonderful. I'm hoping today, I got a bit of a cough in my throat here. I'm hoping today that I can finish these today. The Spider-Geddon, our Marvel United Spider-Geddon. I really have been having fun painting him. Let's cut to that down shot here. I'm gonna cough. Okay, I'm close. I have done everything else. Let's see here. I started off with, I don't know if I started off with this one. I think I started off with Spot. and he has turned out pretty great. There's more I could do, but I really like how this one looks. I also did, I think I did this one next, the Spider-Man Noir, which he's really cool. I was excited to do the ones that were grayscale, mostly grayscale. And then I did the, goodness, let's see if I can get these names. Anti-Venom, maybe, I think that's this one here. And he turned out cool. I mean, it's not the greatest, but it's cool. And it was pretty simple. And I got, oh, what is this one? Symbiote Spider-Man, I guess, is what this one is. I don't know these. I guess I need the other glasses on. And he turned out cool. Again, this was mostly grayscale, right? So then I painted in black and stuff. And I did highlighting and stuff on the web. I think this is varnished. I think all these are varnished. I actually am not quite done with Penny Parker, but it's close. I want to work on her skin a little bit more. It's a challenge. So, you know, I tried something different with this where I tried to do the zenithal highlight with, hey, Anahi. I tried to do like a shading with metallics, which I know is possible. I did a, where's that one at? I did a Iron Man. I'm wondering if I put it into my, I think I did. I did an Iron Man where I dry brushed the silver, and I felt it did a nice job. This is cool. It looks neat. It's not what I 100% imagined. I might actually go back in with a different, because this is not done, but I think I varnished the body. I'll probably go in with a little bit more shiny one for the mech here. What is his name? SD / something or other. And then I worked on Spider-Punk, and he really was cool. I really wanted to make the guitar different, and hey, Circe. I wanted to, like, you know, because the body was so red, and there was no, at least in the reference pictures, the webbing wasn't, the spider web stuff wasn't accentuated in any way. So I decided to make the guitar a sunburst. Ooh, that took a second to remember. And then I worked, as you can see here, I have, what is that? Weird. I wonder if I'm having internet problems. Anyway, we have, oh, I forgot about this one too. So I also did Superior Spider-Man. Really cool. I did some different stuff for this one. I actually used a transparent orange on the, hey, Zacho. I did a transparent orange to highlight the top ends of these that were, you know, I airbrushed the undercoat again, but I wanted it to be a little bit brighter on the top and a slightly different color from the sun, right? And, you know, these are, I don't know, some sort of a probably much more tougher material than like his fabric is. The fabric could absorb some of that light a little bit. And it turned out great. I really love the chimney or wall that he's standing on. It's wall, that's a solid top. I do need to varnish it. I'll probably do that today. I did some stuff where I after the undercoating, I went in and did a little bit so there'd be like a shadow on this edge with a little bit of not very great glazing. I did not use a glazing medium, which I should have done, but it looks fine. It's stone, right, or bricks. And then I was working on this one here, the Scarlet Spider. And while I was watching, one of our viewers, who is also one of the designers for Geeky Jersey, which I love, he said that there wasn't black rings around Scarlet Spider-Man's eyes, and that Scarlet Spider, and he said people were doing it wrong. So I thought, well, okay, well then let's try to do it right. You know, it's close enough. I followed the work from Big Child Creative. It's not in focus. They are the people that sculpt these things, and they paint them for the campaign. So I thought, it's close enough. And then I did the stone, and this was actually 2 colors. I did like, one of my favorite colors actually in the GW line is this Plague Bearer's green. You can see it's like literally the first one, one of the first ones I bought. Plague Bearer Flesh. I have not, I mean, I've got still 2/3 of it left. It is great. It's a great color. And so I used that first, and then a different green on the vegetation. And then I put a brown color over it. And still, is that right? I can't remember. Actually, I might not have done a brown. I might have done a gray. But I think it looks good enough. You know, I don't know if this is a piece that just fell. I don't think so, since there's growth here. And you know, when you go into cemeteries, sometimes they have a lot of mold and moss growing on them. Not mold necessarily, moss and lichens. So I thought it looked pretty legit. Nikki and I went to a cemetery in London, and it was just tons of tombstones. I can't remember what camera I used to take those pictures. I wish, you know, at the time, this was 2009. Nikki wanted to go to, like, she had looked up, she was interested in seeing, you know, cemeteries in the UK. And so we went to that one. No, our friends who we went to travel with did not want to go. And then they saw the pictures, like, oh, we should have gone. It was really neat. And it's weird. It's like a cemetery that's still in existence, still there. Really not a lot of space left for any additional, but they had like domino stacked tombstones, you know, one after the other. And it was amazing, amazing looking, amazing to see. I see a little bit of stuff that I messed up here, so let's mix that up. I'll touch that up because I'm going to try to finish this today. And then the goal is I probably won't finish this today. I will finish it another time. I'm going to work on her skin. I might do something. I'm just dissatisfied with it a little bit. It's too dark, too gray. And it doesn't look like anybody's flesh. So, and then I have this one here, which is the Morlun. You know, I don't know Morlun, but the pictures of him look great. So I'm hoping to work on this today as well. And then the plan is I will get started on it, and then as I will finish this. So I'm really excited. I really like this stuff. I'm excited to be done with these because the chances now we can maybe do it on the show. We did an original playthrough of the first Spider-Man, first Marvel United set, and that was awesome. And we've actually played the game quite a bit, but we haven't played much of the X-Men. We did play the X-Men set as well. I forgot about that. We probably did it on live stream because I painted all those as well. And so we'll do this one. This just came out last month, I think, maybe beginning of January, end of December. So I got it and I bought it at Gen Con. They let me buy a copy. You had to wait in line, and somebody was very kind who works for the company whose family has done. We actually did a game night a long time back, which is one, if you haven't ever seen it, you should check it out. We filmed it with puppets, and it was his father that designed that game. And he's like, he told the lady that was managing the booth, oh, you really should let them get one. They'll do something with it. So I have been slowly working on them and working a little bit more on them lately because I want to, I would like to do this one as an episode. We'll see. We're having issues getting people over here. I don't know if people know, but Deborah, who's a regular on the show, is in New York working on Daredevil, which is great to hear because they had the initial run of that stuff. They had decided not to have her and another character, Foggy, on, and after they decided to reassess and start over, sort of, they're not really starting over 100%. They decided to bring her and I don't know his name, Eldon something or other, but Foggy back in the show, which is great. But we don't have Deborah. Oops, out of focus. We don't have Gabby, a friend of Deborah's. She is in Chicago helping her grandfather for a few months, and miss her too because she's really great as well. And Dave is often up north. He's back up north as of yesterday. No, day before yesterday, probably. Which I hope he didn't go that day, but that was a rainy day. And he was going through the pass, which we had snow. I don't know if it got as low as cool, Zacho. I mean, we're going to probably do it. That's the plan. It's not that heavy of a game, and maybe we'll just do it with 2. I don't know. I would prefer more. But we did, as I said, we started doing game night, date nights again. That'll be a separate show. It won't, you know, we did it out of necessity during the pandemic. We had thankfully filmed a bunch of shows before the lockdown of actual game nights. So we had episodes until like August or something like that, and then we still continue to do them weekly. So we interspersed them initially with some game night date nights, and then they were exclusively game night date nights because couldn't get anybody here. Well, I wish we understood it all. I mean, we absolutely could have made a bubble. Deborah was a little nervous because she still filmed some things during the pandemic. Not a ton, but she was on set. Now they, you know, they did a pretty great job of protecting them and making sure they were okay, and they tested and everything. But she was nervous about coming over and potentially getting us sick because none of us really knew what was going on. Had we known at the beginning, we would have bubbled, you know, for sure. Dave had moved up north to be with his parents before even the lockdown. But Deborah was, you know, in town, and Aaron was available. Most of us had nothing to do except live stream and stuff like that. So we were going to live stream. That was one of the plans, was to, after we'd Clank Legacy, we were going to continue with that because we had done at the beginning of that year, 2020, we had done a escape room kind of puzzle game called the Wilson Wolf Affair, the four of us, and we had the greatest time. And so we thought we would move on to doing, you know, every couple of weeks, Clank Legacy, and that didn't happen. And people want us, because we mentioned it in the video, people want us to continue, but we're not going to, sadly, we're not going to do it. We also, so Aaron, Deborah, Nikki, and I did The Initiative, which is another puzzle game that's fun. And it had, I think, 7 levels. We definitely did 7 videos. And we had talked to the designer, and he was all for us doing it. But ultimately, I don't think it's a really great idea. You reveal too much, and obviously if everybody watched the whole thing, they saw it all. There's more to play after those 7, but I don't really like revealing the whole thing. I mean, we're still going to end up doing it occasionally, but it was just a challenge to do that. I don't want to do that stuff again. Let's see, this is Scarlet Spider. I'm looking at a photo here to see what his belt, oh, it's got red. Okay, well, cool. I'm doing that right now. So let's put some red inside there, in his belt buckle. But so people were really wanting. We did. Maybe we'll do it on a live stream, but it's tough. We played 3 games of 12 of the Ticket to Ride Legacy, which I was a little frustrated with that game, but that doesn't mean it's not good. I just was confused by, it's really not the same game. It has changed some stuff that kind of drastically, but I still would like to see what it is, like how to do that. And so how it unfolds. I've heard that the story is not real strong. That doesn't mean it's not interesting. It's just they don't. The pandemic games actually had some pretty neat story stuff going on. Again, it's just, I don't. If you haven't played any of those, I don't want to spoil it. But there's some great little things that happen in those. And we did not finish. I think we finished the first Pandemic Legacy. I know we did. We played it with Rusty and Scott Aldi. And we did it in 2 weekends, and that was a little bit too much, right? I love that stuff, but I don't want to do it that much. So, the goal is to not just do, and here's the other thing. We did 7 episodes in that season. That was like season 8. 7 episodes for that game, and there's nothing wrong with that. The game is great, but that's 6 other games that we didn't feature. And we have so many games that we want people to check out. So the plan is to not do that as much. He looks pretty cool. I'm probably going to do some stuff here to the base. I don't really like to bump up the base too much. Bump up the base. I don't like to do it too much because I want the focus to be on the figure itself. I think I need to make... I made a little bit of a wash here that was a little Probably too light. Oh, that's got red in it. Hooray, I didn't clean that brush well. And I put that in my mouth. Ugh. Happy Thursday night. It is true, it is Thursday. It's crazy already, the week. When I got back from Dallas, I got back last week in the middle of the week. And so my week was all messed up. I just kept thinking, you know, like that was the beginning of the week, and all of a sudden it was the weekend. And we filmed with Dave before he left town, did a couple new games, which we're excited about. One of which is not a legacy, but a cooperative game. What was the other game we did? Oh, yeah. But it's okay. You know, you can only do, you know, can only play them so much. But one of the games we played is called Daybreak, which is very cool. And speaking of Pandemic and Ticket to Ride Legacy, that is a new game from Matt Leacock. Came out at Spiel. I think it's available here now. It is from, as I said, Matt Leacock. Matteo Menapace or something is one of the other designer, but it's published by CMYK, which is the publisher of in the US of Clank, excuse me, not Clank, Quacks. And so Wolfgang Warsch is part of that. So it's kind of exciting that they're doing some other games. They always have done other stuff. One of the other ones we like recently, which we want to do as a date night, is, I always joke that it's Lorcana, but it's not what it is. Something like that. Gosh, what's that game called? Anyway, it's neat, it's abstract, real pretty components, and the way it lays out on the table, it's a big fabric thing. It was great. Where were we at that they were telling us about it? Oh, it was at, we went to Common Ground when I was in Dallas, and he was saying how gorgeous it was. I said, well, you can always, it is, but the player mat is like a microfiber cloth. I'm like, well, we can always clean our glasses. There's something on here, and I don't know what the story is on that. Wow, it is on there. So I need to darken that up a little, or maybe just turn it into part of the highlight. I don't know. Let's see. Oof. Already getting stuff drying up on it. So it's dry. My skin is very dry right now. When it rains here, hilariously, it gets so cold. I mean, it's everywhere. Winter, it's dry. But it's weird here when we don't really have too cold of weather, at least in recent years. And of course, it's really not that cold, but it is kind of cold. Oof, that was not good. Let's get, I don't know if I'm going to get that off fast enough. If you move quickly, you can get it off. But I don't think I'm going to make it here. You should always have a slightly wet brush on hand to maybe take care of it. Now again, it's dark, so it doesn't matter as long as I get it mostly off. A little bit of dark stuff that is not that bad. Wow, it really is drying quickly though. Oh, I don't want to use that. Let me clear that. I have a rinse well, I think it's called, from, gosh, what is their name? Masterson. And it is great because you just press a button and it drains the water out of the reservoir. And so you have a clear, clean water quickly. The problem is I also have a cup that's specifically for clean water, but I didn't put water back in it. I forgot to. But I've been dying to paint all week though. I just haven't had time. We burned through there's a series called Clone High, which I never saw it in 2002, 2003 when it originally was on MTV. We did see it before the new series because I think the Max put it out, or Max, excuse me, it was probably HBO Max at the time, I'm pretty sure it was. And it's a fun show. It's done by, originally, and they're involved, Lord and Miller, the guys that were, that did the Spider-Man animated films recently, and I think they did 21 Jump Street and stuff like that, and they were working on Solo, and then they got let go. I would really like to see what they had going. It's too bad. But it is a funny show. It is clones of famous people or whatever, who do not behave the way they would, you know, but it's fun. Okay. Now onto this again, a little bit of, hopefully, light edges here. That's too heavy. Now, what I can do here is just go back over it with another green and bring it down, which is probably what I'll do. And this is absolutely a glaze. It is light, but it's a little stronger than I thought. You know what happened is I put white paint in there to get that out into to make this other white that I was doing on the edges of the stones. I like to actually do that. I've done the highlights on hair, and then I paint it white before I paint that stuff, and it comes out pretty great. You know, so you have the highlights from the airbrushing shading, and then you come back and put a color over it, and it with the white on top of that, and then you do the color on top of that of the hair, and it turns out great. For example, I think I have, this one's okay. I think this is Gamora. Yeah, hers was good. It's dusty. So what I did is because you know, contrast paints and speed paints are, hey Star Reapers, Jello sounds delicious. Let's get the dust off here if I can. The contrast paints and speed paints and all of those types of paints, there's express paints, and that's Vallejo, and contrast speed paints, express paints, I'm pretty sure there's another one. They're all pretty transparent. So the shading of the hair from the airbrushing, and then I put a little bit of light on the top edges, just white, almost straight white, and then I colored it with the contrast paint, and I think it looks great. You know, it gives it some variation. The one that I did of, if she's still in here, what is her name? I'm now forgetting it. Not Okoye. Goodness gracious, why am I not remembering her name? Anyway, this one, I didn't do anything to it. It's just such a great texture that it, I believe it's one coat. And I could go back and do some more, but I mean, this looks natural to me, like with the sheen, you know, that you're gonna get from shining off your hair, so it's great. Turned out really cool. Hilariously, we watched that movie not that long ago, Wakanda Forever. Shuri, good gracious. But yeah, I'm glad I remembered. Okay, I'm not really a comic person. We watched the Marvels last night because we didn't get a chance to see it in the theater, and it was a little disappointing. It's too bad because Nikki really liked the first movie, and all the characters are great. I like Ms. Marvel, the actress that plays that part is great, and that show is fun, and they did some similar stuff with this one, which was cool. So it was a little bit of a bummer. So let's see what I can do for that green. I mean, maybe I'm going too soon. Maybe I should wait a little bit longer because I did use glazing medium, which slows it down. So I will get a little bit of dark, probably basilicon gray, and thin it out a little bit. And I'm going to do a little bit of shading on his belt buckle. Not that it really matters. I'm not doing it really much anywhere else. I didn't do that much for the, I did glaze his hoodie, and I do need to paint this the spider on the back just to brighten it up a little bit. I tried with the glazing, but it's, you know, you have to do a lot, and that's not a problem. So I could try a little more here at dry. You have to let it dry for a while. It definitely slows down the drying process, and you kind of want it to be blue. That's what the picture is anyway. So I was hoping that the glazing would, it's too white, but it's okay. I'll put a lighter blue over it. An actual blue as opposed to the gray blue that I used for the hoodie. Hey, focus. Aye. Goodness gracious. Now this doesn't dry super quick, so it's because it is actual regular acrylic paint with a glazing medium. It does take a while longer to dry. Wow, that's a lot of paint. I have some water in there. That's not good. Oh, I didn't change the game. Let me do that. See if I can do it here. We did play Dracula vs. Helsing on Tuesday, which is great. That will be a game night, date night soon. Let me do that. Let's see if I can remember. Interesting. Marvel United. Oh, the other thing I had issues with is more of this. We have actually figured out our issues with the software that we stream with, but it did not update the PaintNight stuff, so I have to actually have Derek. I'm not sure how to do it. Get him on to help me with it because I could not get it to work. I mean, I got it to work because you can hear the music. That's one of the things that we have issues with. Anytime you have you need browsers, the software, you know, it's not using the actual Windows browser. Or I guess maybe it sort of does. Ouch. Hey, I'm using a Mac. Remember to do that. Hooray, let's see if that works. Hey, it updated, sweet. I'm remembering. It's one thing I never do because it usually happens. Either it sometimes happens before we get started. Derek will take care of it. Ow, I really want my hand there. Okay, so let's see. It is a different color of blue. So maybe if I use, well, I think I use Night Haunt Gloom. That is not the choice. Briar Queen, wow, that's a different color. I don't know if I knew that one. Briar Queen Chill. I don't want it to be, well, maybe. Let's try it. I don't think it's been opened yet, so. GW gave me a bunch of the, not all of them, they gave me all the new stuff. Gosh, I think that came out in 2022, of the new bunch of contrast paints. And I have not used them all. I don't even have all the first range of them. I have most of them, or 2/3, I think, actually, maybe. On those, people were complaining about certain colors. Now, knowing how I use them now, I probably should get them all. I would like to get them all. Yeah, we were kind of a little disappointed with the marbles. Now, it's not terrible at all. I really like Brie Larson. I was going to say Alison Brie. I really like Brie Larson, and I think she's good in it. And I like the first one too. You know, it's 80s stuff, which is fun for us anyway. And ooh, that is bright. I think that's been used. I don't, wait, did I hear it? Let me hear if I hear a bearing in there. I will know. Yep, I've used it once, at least. Probably this, we'll see. But it's okay, I'm gonna use the full power of the color. So we'll see what it does here. It might be too dark. Nah, it'll be fine. Now, I probably didn't wait long enough for that. Let's focus there. Probably didn't wait long enough. But it's a different color and it works. Cool. Let's see if I can do any on the edge. No, you don't really, contrast paints don't work for edge highlighting. I did look at videos for the newest Harder and Steenbeck. I bought the Ultra. The new one looks nice, but I think it's $175 for the lowest price version of it, which there's nothing, I don't think there's any difference between the three versions. Two of them are Squidmar versions, one of which I think is limited edition, the other one is not. I have the black chrome one from the first one, it was a Squidmar one. I just thought, I like it. I used to watch this stuff all the time during the pandemic. I think when I started watching this channel, it was like 4,500 people subscribed. I thought, oh, I'll do that one. And it'd be neat to see. I've never bought any of the ones that have any of the engraving and stuff like that. So I was happy to get that. And then and you know, it's worth it. I think it's a cool, I think it's potentially a cool airbrush. I've used an Evolution, the previous version of it, and I liked it very much. Thought very much about getting one, and then I saw that they had the new, I mean, I kind of wish I waited to buy the one that I have. I have a Infinity. I think that one cost me about $210, which is probably a pretty great price considering the Evolutions are not, you know, supposedly the high-end one, although I think they're all pretty great. Wow, that's bright. Let's see. That may be too much, but let's see. Is it Striking Scorpion? Yeah, that's a great color though. But I would like to, I mean, I don't need any more airbrushes. That was another reason why I didn't get it. I was thinking, oh, maybe, and then I was like, I really don't need it. I have so much. I have too many airbrushes, and I still really love my Badger. And there's also the new ones from, Gallery. That one of them's right here. This one is now, I think, $100. Pretty good deal. Things that they do that the others do not yet, anyway, that maybe the Infinity will have it, is this super polished cup, which is fantastic. I mean, it really does a wonderful job because it's easy to clean. So I do a little bit better of a cleaning between colors when I'm doing, particularly the, and it's not really that big of a deal, but when I'm doing the undercoats, I was going to do the black, the gray. I didn't do it. Got all carried away. I will switch between the colors better, a better transition, so it's not, because part of the issue is like, ugh, that's terrible. Part of the issue is I don't like it to be so strong as far as you know, like if you're doing the gray, you want it to be the brightest gray you can, because then you're going to put the white, and then the white, I almost always have to do the brightest zenithal coat twice, and I actually, it's frustrating because I've gotten it to work sometimes where I didn't. So I thought, oh, is it because I'm waiting longer between when it's dry and when it's painted when it's dry? And I don't know. I think that it's, I don't know. I don't think it's worth stressing about, but hey, thanks, Dim. I really like this one. It's fun. They've all been great. This was a great set. It's 10 miniatures, and I think it's $35 right now on Amazon, and it is truly great. They're all fantastic. This Superior Spider-Man, is that what it's called? He's great. I really love it. Had a really great time painting this one. Had a great time painting Spider-Punk. Focus. And then I really love doing this one, Spider-Man Noir. It was great. I was very excited to do a grayscale kind of thing. And you know, Symbiote Spider-Man and Spot were also awesome, both awesome. Oh, I didn't show Silk. Silk is really great too. Had really fun painting this one. Her skin's a little dark too. Now, I didn't undercoat silver like I did here, so I was afraid to do too much white over the silver. And so, but her skin's pretty dark gray too, you know, kind of grayish. But it's cool. Let's see, what is Daredevil's? He's pretty, it's pale and smooth enough. It's a little gray, you know, it's shadows, so it's fine. Now this one here, Morlun, he's very bright, so his skin should turn out okay. I don't even know what he really looks like. I'll have to look at a picture. Yeah, these are great. They're really fun minis, and I mean, you know, the scale is awesome. I mean, here's a recent fantasy model. This is from Warhammer Underworlds. Look how the scale is. You know, I mean, these are great minis to just start painting with. There's tons of, now you do have to cover more, so when you're doing details, you know, I have to go a little farther than I do on these. But you know, in this one, I literally just painted it, whatever the gray is that they have, that they don't have anymore. I think it's Corax or no, Gray Seer. I don't think they make Gray Seer anymore. I think maybe they do. I feel like I saw that one. But they changed one of the grays, and I like this one because it's a cooler one. So I painted this whole thing in that color, and then I did this is the very first miniature I did with contrast paints, and I think it looks great. And you know, but then you go to these, which are just massive, and you know, comparatively, I mean, look at this miniature. This is great, super fun scale, fun to do things like their eyes. Did I do anybody with any eyes out here? Let's see if I did. I did do her eyes. They look pretty good. But it's fun to be able to do their eyes, because I can't, it's hard for me to do. Let's see, did I do hers? I did not. She's got white eyes, so she's a zombie or something, or possessed. But I will do that. How do you display them? That is the issue, Trent. I put them in the boxes. I only just started doing that because I was afraid, but they seem to be dry. Now, I haven't done them all because I got a tray of them over here that haven't been put into the boxes. The boxes seem to be okay, but yes, it'd be nice to show them. I just don't have the space. Nikki was going to do a cabinet to do all the minis, but now I have so many minis, there's no way I can do it. But we had, when we bought this house, there was a cabinet in here that was, I do not know what it was. It's like a display cabinet or something, but it didn't have any shelves. But it did have glass and great, and Nikki was going to do it. And then it just kind of dry rotted, even though it was in the house. I think it was in here. Is that correct? I think it was in here. And it just, the metal was already on its way out, I guess, on the rails, and so it just was too much. So we got rid of it. There was a friend of ours bought those IKEA metal shelves. They're like tall but square floor plan essentially on each shelf. And he actually has quite a bit of stuff in there. So maybe we'll do something like that. The issue is I still have like my other 3D printer. I have a resin 3D printer here, but I have my other one in the house, partly because it was, you know, it's temperature controlled. The studio does not have AC on all the time. And so, but we do need to move it out here. And so that will give us some space maybe to do something like that. Again, I don't want it to take over everything. I have so many minis. I have thousands of minis and probably a couple hundred painted. So I need to really hunker down. My goal, which I'm not sure I'm going to make it, was to get through all of the phase 1 and 2 of Marvel United before the new one shows up, but I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm going to try. It's been delayed. Shipping's been delayed. And I read till June. Well, at least that's how I interpreted it. And that's not terrible, but I'm sorry. Reading a message from our friend David. He's going to watch this, try to watch us, or watch me. But yeah, it's far too many to, far too many to paint. But I was hoping to get them done, and then, as soon as those show up, I would get started on them. But I don't think I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna try real hard though. The problem is I'm gonna be away. We will be away for. We're gonna go to Texas Pinball Fest, which is in Dallas. Or actually, it's in Frisco, and maybe, we really want to go, and then we have the Gathering of Friends, which is a board game. It's not a very big one, but it's private, unfortunately. But it's a good con, and we do that in April, and we're going to see the eclipse just before that, because we will be. It's hilarious. Dallas is in the path of the eclipse, and then Buffalo is in the path of the eclipse. So they will be. We'll definitely. And I figured, like, hey, we're going to be there. We might as well go see it. And we usually visit Scott in Dallas before we go to the gathering. We all go together, so it'll be fun. And I don't think I've ever seen a total eclipse, so that'll be awesome. Okay, so his base is not painted, the edge. I do that in black. So I need to do that before I paint. I put varnish on. Thousands, it is true, Dim. I have a lot. You'll burn your eyes out, kid. Definitely don't want to be looking directly at the sun. Maybe I should look for some eclipsers. We had an eclipse here that was pretty cool. We couldn't really see it, but we did the whole pinhole thing and look through the trees. It was all really cool. But we're gonna do the real deal one. So I'm not sure. We definitely do not want to blast our eyes out, but we are excited to go. Nikki is especially into astronomy, and she pays attention to apps about it and everything. So she's excited to do it. Okay, I took them off the base. I don't know why, or the holder. So I think this paint, it's just, I don't know what the deal is. It's very, maybe the white is too much. I did not paint any, I primered it, but I didn't paint any white on top of that. And maybe it's kind of thirsty, like soaking up paint. I'm just trying to give some, like, the sort of a non-metallic metal kind of thing going on here to just make it look sort of like metal. I don't use I used to use these small brushes all the time. This is a 10-0 or 12-aught is what I say, 12-0. But it's actually not bad, like, to do detail, and that's good. It's not great, but it'll be fine. It'll look good from sitting across the table. That's the one silly thing about this game, is you don't really need the minis, but they make the game. So I really love them. Very, very well done for almost every time. And literally the Spider-Man ones are my favorite ones so far. There are some great ones. I did Dormammu. Is that in here still? Dormammu I did a little bit airbrushing on. So his was a little different. So I undercoated it. And then I did spraying to, like, this hair is glowing, so I did some, what they would call object source lighting, OSL, on the ground, and then I painted it yellow, and then I airbrushed an orange and then a red to do the tips. And then I did most of this stuff here by hand, because I was nervous about making a mess. So it turned out cool. I mean, he's really awesome. He's one of my favorites as well. There's some really good ones. The Magneto's awesome. The Hela's great. And I mean, they're all cool. The only one I'm not completely in love with, and it's just because of my paint job, is Thanos. And he's fine. it's just, I was trying, I had fantasies of doing the gold, right? And I'm still not sure. I'm going to try a little bit more experimentation before I do another bit of gold metal like that. Let's see here. Well, that's exciting. He looks done. Cool. And I mean, you know, done enough. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. Morlun. Okay. So let's get on this one. I usually do the skin first. Face, you know. Do I do seal them? Yes, I do. I'm a big fan of these varnishes. I only have 3. I don't know if they make a gloss. Their bottles have changed, and they actually have larger versions too as well. I only bought these like a year and a half ago. And these are sort of still available. I'm not sure. My favorite is the matte varnish, but I absolutely love the ultra matte. I did paint Spider-Man Punk in ultra matte, and you can see the difference, right? This is very, very flat, the denim and stuff like that. And then the guitar is an actual gloss medium, which I have an old one. But I really like them. I have not done any airbrush varnishes for miniatures ever. But I think I bought this stuff and then immediately came home and airbrushed it and then got freaked out because it was so quickly. I was just doing a quick test and I so quickly got it in the air without a mask. You know, I was doing it for like literally 20 seconds or 30 seconds. I was trying not to do it very long. And it was in the air and kind of in my lungs right away. So I was like, okay. And I think doing them with the brush is great. It's not necessary, but hey, Constant Vent. Berlin, I love it. We love Berlin too, as well. And thank you. We love doing our show. It's really great. It's hard sometimes, but it's great. But yeah, we were in Berlin in 2014, maybe 2015. I really loved Berlin. I would like to see more. We did quite a bit of sightseeing, as much as we could do in the few days that we had there. Plus, we had currywurst, which we love currywurst, so we were very excited to have that from a place that was recommended to us. You know, it was just I think a walk-up place, but it was fun. I don't think gloss matte finish makes it look plasticky. I mean, maybe this looks weird to you, but I mean, it's not great though. I will tell you, here's my problem with this. I absolutely used I used an older paint, not an old paint, like old, but I mean, not like a modern pigment one, but yellows are hard to do. And then I used a glazing medium, and it kind of absorbed the glossiness, but I wanted the guitar to be shiny, right? You know, guitars are shiny. But I do things like gems and, you know, specific things with the metallic. And then I mean the gloss. And then I generally use satin. Satin is shiny enough. Oh, I'd love to go to Berlin Con. Wrong time of the year. We've almost gone potentially to go to the SDJs, which are around the same time. At least they were. I know that they've changed the dates of the awards. But satin has a pretty good sheen. More than what I feel, well, you know, satin is shiny, so it's not glossy, but it's a good one to use. I think I used satin on her hair. And this is dry brushed. I mean, I dry brushed the undercoating on this one. That's why her face is a little different. But I'm really happy with the hair. I like the dry brushing. It's weird. So my goal was to just try to do what I felt was the easiest. And dry brushing is pretty darn easy to do the zenithal highlighting. Basically all you do, that's what they call slap chop, where you paint it black and then you dry brush the highlights. And so I wanted to try a couple. I asked, Scott had an extra copy of the game, and so I asked him if I could have it to paint him, and I did this in the Iron Man, and the Iron Man was a success. I do not know where he is at. I was very happy with the dry brushing. The face is not great as well on that one, but it's better. I might go back and hand paint, you know, change it up, brighten it up, and change it to be like the other one, which I know is in a box. That's why they're both in a box. But I was real happy with the way this works. The slap chop's amazing. I mean, I've kind of been doing that for years, but not to that extent. Because you know, I did inks back in the day, and that was where I sort of used that stuff, dry brushing highlights. But it's really gotten to be amazing, and it's worth any one of these methods. Dry brushing, airbrushing. Airbrushing is great. You get super smooth gradients. I mean, look at Daredevil. I literally just put the red on him. So it is this great, and this was a little, like, I had a problem with the airbrush. So it's a little speckly, but it looks fantastic on this stone. And it's not even noticeable really on, I mean, Daredevil's wearing fabric, right? Or leather, you know, maybe, or some sort of harder stuff. But literally one coat of red, and it looks really good. I mean, I'm not done with this, but I'm pretty much done with it. It is really great. So I think it's a quick method. But yeah, so the airbrush, the dry brush, spray can, Scott does them with just spray them black and then spray them white, you know, do the up above white. My problem with spray can is you end up getting more like this looks like, a little bit more speckly. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I do prefer them to have a, I don't know, this looks so great on the stone that, you know, or concrete or whatever, that it's wonderful. I don't know. They're all good methods. Just doing a zenithal highlight is a great way to do this, and you don't have to do a ton of work. So we're going to do this jacket here. Let's see here. I need to find the picture. That is Morlun. So his coat, wow. See, now there's some airbrushing I'd like to do. I wonder if I'll do that in the end. So there's like, so he's standing on flame, like above flames. And there's a whole bunch on their illustration, a whole bunch of OSL lighting. And that's something I would like to be better at. I'm not great at. But it's on the backside, there's a lot of red here, yellow and then red. So maybe I will, what I really need to buy, I'm sorry you can't see this. What I really need to buy is some silly putty. Silly putty is a, you know, silly putty, if you ever played with it when you're a kid, you know, it's a great way to mask because it has just enough adhesion that you can push it in and then block where you don't want to spray, then you can spray. So I can do all the stuff I want to do. I mean, this is going to be sprayed as well, so it's going to be similarly. So maybe I won't touch this at all and then come in with some highlights or something. You know, it's yellow is a tough one. But yeah, his jacket. I mean, so his vest is gray or white. So I'm going to just leave this and probably paint, I don't know what color those buttons are. But again, it's slightly different. This one's slightly different than the model that they, because it's 3D printed when they do it for the Kickstarter, that when they're getting ready. But yeah, I mean, I'd love, I was once again to Constantine. I'd love to go to Berlin Con. I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger too. I believe that was, goodness gracious, can't remember their name. That put that together. It would be fun to do that. So his underneath, maybe his underside of his coat is white. I don't have it like that, so. Well, it's white plus it's got a bunch of brightness. Hunter and Friends, Hunter and Cron originally, and Hunter and Friends. I think they put that con together. We know a bunch of people that go to that. It would be great to go. We are not. I mean, the problem is it's June. I think. Let me look it up. Might as well look it up. It'd be good to go though. It'd be fun. I can delete that photo. I take photos of my login information. I can delete that photo. Taking pictures of boxes. Wow. Okay. I just looked at a picture 6 years ago from February when I went to Nuremberg. It was just featured on the photos. Berlin Con, looking that up. It would be good to go though. It'd be fun, but it's just tough, you know, and it's not cheap for us to get there. Berlin Con 2024. It is NullCon is what they call it. Okay. No, that's March. That can't be right. Oh, maybe though. That would be terrible if it's March. We'll never get to go. Berlin Brettspielcon. That's the actual name. July. Wow, okay. So it really is by the STJs. July 19th to the 21st. That's a tough time. We actually came out to Germany. We came out to Germany early because we usually go during Spiel. We've been most years. I've been every month except every time except for 2020, 2021, and I think we went back again in 2022. I know we did because we had plans to go to see Kraftwerk in Bonn, where our friends Annie and Sebastian live, and that show just kept getting pushed back 6 months from May 2020 till it didn't do it in May 2023. Is that right? 2023? No, it's 2020. They didn't do it in 2023. They did end up doing it in May of 2022. No, August. There we go, August. And so we went to Germany and we were literally there. And then there, and then we went to, we did some sightseeing, and then we came home, and then we went back to Germany like weeks later, because we got back home in September and then headed back out. So it was rough, and it's not easy to do that much traveling. But we would really like to go. I really like Germany. I watched some YouTube people from Germany. It's fun because it's fun to hear like German accents, speaking English, which is fun, because of all of our friends. We probably won't get to see Annie and Sebastian as much this year because they are both like working right around the holiday very much, and they are spending holiday to do some things with their families. So we may go and visit. We just won't be able to do any sightseeing, which ultimately is not a big deal for Nikki and I because we love to see them. So. Hopefully that will be what we do. So I'm going to use this Luxian purple. Hey, Neon Thief. Sorry, December. Oh my goodness. Hey, thanks for watching. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. But yeah, I would like to. I really like Germany. It's fun to go there, and it's lots of pretty stuff and neat stuff to see. I would like to go back to Berlin, though. There's lots I'd like to see in Berlin. Although, Dragonvelt, the game store, was awesome. I'd also like to go to Copenhagen again to see. There's some amazing game stores. Hey, Chad. Chad's over on Twitch. We're on both streams, so you can catch us on both. So you'll hear me talking to people that you don't see them chatting on, but they are on the other side here. So. What I use is, this is contrast medium. Let me put the Lamian medium. Lamian is a glazing medium. It's pretty cool. It's thinner than, this is the one I used, I think. Prorackle's Glaze and Wash. I'm not sure, I need to actually do more with it. I'm not a great glazer. I used to do layers. I do layering. And glazing is pretty awesome. So I need to do a little bit of that. But what I do is I actually put the color in, I'm actually doing Marvel United minis right now. So this is Spider-Man Ultimate, I think it was. So these are large scale. I don't have any D&D minis here, although I think this is one here, but it's not real D&D mini. This is very tiny. Unlimited. I don't know what this is from. I think Dave gave it to me, and I have no idea what it is. But yeah, this is actually a taller figure in Warhammer 40K, but you can see the scale of stuff. And so for people getting to painting, starting painting, I feel that these minis are amazing. You can get the base game, not these. These are 35, I think, right now. It's a new game. it's still 10 minis for $35. So it's a game plus minis, and even at $3.50 a mini, these are amazing. So there's this one, there's the Spider Punk, but the oops, they're not in focus. That stupid palette underneath there. They, you know, they're the kind of scale that you can get good at painting and learn control, and I love it. I just love them. They are really, really fantastic. I've showed all these a little bit more. Which games would we like to play in game night? Well, it's always mostly new stuff. We did play a bunch of new older games during this season. Yeah, this is Spider-Man Noir. I really love painting because it's black and white, or grayscale. I mean, we have games in the queue. There's games, and you know, mostly the types of games we want to play are games that have not, older games that we have never played. So we played this season, we played Big Boss. Big Boss is a game from the 90s that we absolutely love. And we played, Dave had a copy. He's like the only person we knew in the area that had a copy. And we played it a bunch. We'd always played it like at cons and stuff. Like we have daily, single day events here in Southern California, and a couple of, you know, like Strategicon, things like that. But we would play those for those cons because, you know, we'd just plow through them all. But we wanted our own copy. And then Dave was kind enough at a prize table. He won early. It was the nicest thing. Everybody's like, what did you pay him? He ran up and grabbed that game because he won a tournament. And when you get a tournament, when you, oh, I just put the color in. I don't want to do that. Generally, I start with the contrast medium. So when you win a tournament, you get to pick first. And so the first game, he ran up there and grabbed that game before anybody else had an opportunity to get it, and it was awesome. And we love that game. But we couldn't do it on the show because you couldn't buy it. It was just hard to get. It was only in Germany. I don't think any other publishers did it. And then just before their demise, Funko Games did it, which is amazing to me because they, you know, they do their own designs, and they were, you know, it was a design studio. Prospero Hall was the name of the studio, and they redid it a little bit. It's a Wolfgang Kramer game. They redid some things to it, not a ton, and it was great. I loved what they did, and they put it out for inexpensive, and it's a very nice production. So that was just great. You know, I just put a whole bunch more color in there. Whatever. Let's see how it is. So that was awesome, and it's not too expensive, and it's available still. I don't know if it's the type of game that maybe Goliath, who bought them, will do, because the studio's closed, and it's truly a heartbreaking thing because I really love their stuff, and so they, you know, the reason why they may keep that one is it's not an IP-based game, so licensing is probably easier if it sells well. The problem is, you know, we got like 15,000 views on that video, you know, it's not going to sell that many. I mean, we love it. Doesn't mean everybody's going to like that game. And it's very much, it's inspired by, it was Wolfgang Kramer's kind of variant. He talked to, he asked Sid Saxon if it was okay, because there's a game called Acquire, which we also did the week before, or maybe we did it the week after we did Big Boss. I don't remember. But we did them back to back, and it was great. Wow, this is pretty thin. Let's see how I can do here. But yeah, so Neon Thief. The first video I saw was Stardew Valley. Got it for Christmas. It was great to see how it played. That's awesome. Thanks for watching. I'm glad we're helping. I mean, I guess we're helping. We're getting you to spend more money. But we love games. I mean, we like to feature games that we're excited about. I need to move this out of shot. It really doesn't help. You know, we're bad too. We buy too many games. I just purchased, as a matter of fact, I bought the, so we did Star Trek Cryptid on the show. Cryptic. And there's an Indiana Jones one too, and I've heard there's a problem with one of them, but I just bought it. There's no chance that they'll, they're gone, so they're not going to send. I mean, we could maybe ask Goliath if they're going to continue with it. Once again, it's a licensed game, but we bought the Indiana Jones cryptic, and I just got it today, as a matter of fact, because I just like, you know what, I want to make sure I get that. The Star Trek one was fun. But yeah, it's a bummer. Those guys were fantastic, and they were probably, my favorite brand publisher, because everything they did was kind of awesome. We this season I think we finished featured at least 3 games. We did Indiana Jones. Gosh, I don't remember what that one's called. It's a cooperative sort of real-time game. You do some stuff real-time based on this, but you get to make decisions and stuff between the runs. But it was great. And then we did Big Boss, and we did, gosh, I don't even remember. We did so much stuff. We really liked their games. And then last season we did wow, that I cannot see that. I can imagine that that's orange. Oh, that's what the deal is. Okay. We did the Jurassic World one, which was a downer for them because it didn't do that well. And it, on the Kickstarter, it's one of those things where you can see why they did it on Kickstarter, but they didn't do it quite right. So, oh, you know what? That's all a bunch of stuff that I want to. I watched a Vincent Venturella video recently where he's a fantastic painter. And he does a great job at transitions. He did it in such a short time. So he basically painted white on top of the red and then put like a fluorescent red on top of that. And it just was the most gorgeous transition. So watch his stuff. He'll tell you how to do things. I probably should just paint this to the edge for now. But I was just blown away because I am not that good. I can never get it to transition smoothly, and his were phenomenal. He is a truly great painter and a great resource. His videos, his cheating, hobby cheating videos are great. And he does review a lot of stuff. So it's worth checking out his stuff. He was kind of small, and finally he's taken off. Initially he wasn't. He's now got a Patreon and things like that. And speaking of which, if you want to support BGG and GameNight, go to BoardGameGeek.com/support. And there's a lot of methods you can do that. But he's now running a Patreon, and which is cool. He should. He was like, I don't, because people had asked him to do it, and he was, are you having support? And he's like, I don't need it. But here's the thing: this stuff is expensive. And like I said, I mostly bought these airbrushes that I have recently. Believe me, I bought plenty of airbrushes prior to that. But I was buying them because I wanted to show the elements. Like I bought one that has that had a little compressor, a battery-powered compressor, rechargeable, and it's great, cordless, really great. So I didn't paint his face. I was so eager to paint this purple. Yipes. I generally paint the face first. Gosh, I don't know where I was at. But anyway, the great thing is Vincent reviews everything. Not everything. A lot of stuff. And does a great review. And he shows a lot of... I met him last year. And I will tell you, he is way taller than I expected him to be. How do you decide to do when end a season? We generally end the season. This is Neon Thief. Wormspan, maybe. We didn't buy it yet. Generally, Stonemaier doesn't send us games. We don't ask, right? We generally buy our games. It's just for us to do that one, we probably need to get it in early. And Scott asked me if we wanted to pre-order it, but it's like, he was doing one order, and like, you can't ship it to you and to us in the same order. So, but maybe we'll do that. I would like to. I mean, Deborah might appreciate that one. She did not really love. Now, Wingspan was one of her first slightly heavier games, because we had played some lighter games with her when she first came over. And I told her, I said, hey, I want you to come back if you're interested, and do some deeper games. And she's crazy about games. So she eagerly did that, and it's been a great thing since then. We've all had, wow, oh, that's supposed to be purple. That scared me. But it's been great. She's been an awesome friend and really into the hobby. The other question was, when do we end? So we generally end just before the SDJs are announced. So I'd like to have like the nominations. I'd like to have 1 or 2 episodes before the SDJs. So, we'll end it usually with a bigger thing sometimes. And we've done many larger games this season, so I don't know, but we end it with a larger game, and then we come back and do another game as the intro, and then we do the children's nominated games, because at the time the children's games, the winners were announced. They were announced 2 or 3 weeks after the winners were announced. 2 or 3 weeks, probably 3 weeks after they announced the nominees. And we go to BGG Con in spring, and they used to, unless they change things, they won't change this year, but they used to do the announcements for the children's first, and then they announce it, and then that week they would fly to Dallas, several of the judges, and show to the public all the nominated games. It was fantastic, and hopefully they move back to that, but I don't know that they will. I kind of get so there's two kind of, that looks terrible on his shoulder. Let me just see if I can solve that. This is bad. The problem is I feel, and I think that some of the people agree, that the children's games get lost. That's one reason why they did it first. They're going to get lost because they do one ceremony. They want to do one ceremony, which makes sense. I got to be honest with you. Both things make sense, but I did see the ASDA this year. Chad's asking if I saw the ASDA or nominations. I did, and I was actually shocked. Not that they're bad games. I just was shocked that there wasn't anything that I was like completely blown away and thought it was awesome. I don't think. We don't go to FIJ anymore. That's soon. I think that's like next week. And I loved going to that event because it was many publishers that we never heard anything of, right? It's gotten better in recent times, but when we first went, it was an amazing amount of games, really cool stuff that we'd heard nothing about. And it's, with Asmodee focusing on Europe, and it's probably a little bit better as far as seeing the stuff, but it was truly great. And now that Trick Track is gone, I don't know that they'll have the coverage that they had from them. So we would stream in Trick Track. We were literally 2 booths apart or something like that, and they were awesome. Trick Track's great. I'm sad that they took that down. Are there games that get requested to play before or after recording game night? Well, we have people requesting games. We don't always get to them. I mean, people are asking for Apiary, maybe another Stonemaier game, which I would like to get as well, but maybe on that one, right? That's the problem. It's all a bunch of maybes. A lot of it happens where we get very excited and we rush this game in, and we've had games that we meant to do for ages, and they just never they never happened. And then, they ended up getting. I have more purple on his pants, his pantalons. They ended up getting just lost in the shuffle because so many other new games. As a matter of fact, what was one we were talking about doing recently? And Scott's like, I think you should just not do it. I don't want to say. It's terrible because we really wanted to do it, and Aaron was going to study it, and he has it still. But it's been so long. Aaron is very busy working. He works with the the election council here in Los Angeles, and so he actually does training, which is, when I heard that that's what he's doing, I was like, wow, that you're like the best person. He's such a good teacher. And he does training for the new people to help monitor the election and help run the polling places. And so he's super busy. He told me he would try to make some space here before the actual election, which is next month. I honestly don't believe he's going to make that happen. We'll see. But yeah, he has something that was a bigger game. He's really into the bigger games, and the sad thing is we actually tried to play a version of this game earlier, and this was during the pandemic. We tried to film outside. We didn't know. We could have done it inside. All of us, Aaron, Deborah, Nikki, and I, none of us have gotten COVID yet. And we all were very cautious, so we could have absolutely bubbled. I mean, Dave would be the same. Dave has not had COVID either. Had we known, if Dave was still down here, but he was taking care of helping his parents out, which is awesome. Yeah, we tried to film it outside and it just did not work. Sun was changing too much. It was October, which is basically too late. What is happening with that coat? I don't see it. But yeah, so requests sometimes happen, those types of things, but they just get lost, like it's too late, and, the buzz is down, and again, we don't worry about that. It's one of the things makes my job a lot easier. I don't worry about the algorithm because I know that what we do is not that, it's pretty niche. And so we're not going to, we do okay. We definitely get a lot of people watching our videos pretty quickly. Some games do better than others for sure. We happen to like weird games, so sometimes they don't do very well. I think I just got it on his shoe. What does his shoe look like? Well, who knows? It's super shiny. It's super bright. I will probably not paint it anything. I will paint it, but I won't do it with anything. I'll let the airbrushing stuff that I'm going to try to do here. I need to get that. I think Chad was telling me about the Trashorama here on Twitch. Was telling me about using Silly Putty. I've seen stuff as well, but I really haven't tried it yet. Requests are always, somebody asked for apiary recently. I think I said that already. And so maybe it's the same designer that is doing Wormspan, even though it is based on Elizabeth Hargrave's, I should have painted this regardless. It's based on Elizabeth Hargrave's Wingspan. Elizabeth did the development, so it's exciting though. I've heard it's a more difficult version of Wingspan. I don't think Wingspan's that hard. It's just a lot of, it's a card deck builder type thing. Not deck builder, tableau. And it's very difficult to really grasp that kind of stuff initially. She's on Daredevil. It's, as far as I know, it's not terribly long. So the way we met Deborah was our friend Kevin worked at Geek and Sundry, where Deborah had a show called Relics and Rarities. It's still viewable. It was a D&D show where she wrote the adventure, and he was helping at WonderCon, where she was a guest. This was in March of 2019. And if you watch our 500th episode, which is Green Team Wins, she talks about it on there. But she met Kevin, and he's helping her and her husband around. And she's she recognizes him, and she realizes, now this is the end of March. She realizes that she had seen him on, she's like, are you on GameNight? And she had seen him on Chronicles of Crime, I think was the first, no. First one she watched was Victorian Masterminds, which she loves so much she bought that game. Yeah, the first thing she saw, I think maybe Chronicles of Crime immediately after that, and Kevin's on that one. He's funny, and he says, "Hey, you should be on the show if you want to. You know, they'd love to have you." And she's like, "Really?" And now she didn't do it. Kevin called me that day. I was at this one of the things I was telling you about earlier, SoCal Games Day. I'm like, and I didn't know who Deborah was. I'm like, I'd seen her because I'd seen bits of True Blood before, which I never saw, and I still haven't watched Daredevil, which I will watch. I bought the stuff. I had to buy like foreign DVDs to get the shows. So she came on and she was awesome. We met her the first time we had. Kevin wanted to come over since he knew her. I'm like, I think that he was there that first day, but maybe not. He might have been the second time. But we had her over and we had a great time. I think we actually did, it was twice. Maybe we'll see. I can't remember. But she had a great time and we had a great time because she's really fun and funny and very, very nice person. Hey, SPCA 07, or yeah, 007, yeah. Thanks for the follow. Advanced Civ, a nice short one. I don't have Advanced Civ anymore. I actually gave it to a friend. He was saying he was trying to get it. I'm like, well, I have it. Because I don't know if when I played that last, but it was a long time ago. But I bought a copy because I had played it when I first got into the hobby, and I found Civ and Advanced Civ. And but my friend Dwight wanted it, and he's like, you don't have to give it to me. I'm like, look, man, you want it, and I don't need it because I have Mega Civ, which is insane. We're never going to do that one on the show. It's just too big. Wow, I did not make enough mix up enough paint for this. Anyway, so Deborah came on the show. It was great, and then it has grown from there. She's been on many times. You can find her on lots of episodes. She was fantastic just after we started doing stuff after the pandemic, because she was free, and she came over and played many games with Nikki and I. I'm sorry, I probably wasn't on camera. She played many games with Nikki and I. It was just the three of us. It was awesome. She's really a nice person, and we love hanging out with her. And as I said earlier, she introduced us to Gabby. Gabby's her producer on the Truest Blood, I think is the name of the podcast. They're just nice. Gabby's wonderful. I love Gabby. And great players, just great players. Gabby wins her share of games very handily, and Deborah's really talented. They're both just great. We actually have such great players. Rusty's really talented. He actually had a bad debut. His, I think his first video was Splendor, and I think he scored 1 point. I mean, I'm not even sure how that happens, but he was nervous. Find out that Rusty's nervous on the show. Somebody had commented about that in the video, today's video. Yeah, it's awesome. No problem, Neon. Neon Thief. She's amazing. She's such a nice person. Her family's great. Their son is awesome, and her husband's real nice. Last year we went to, she was in Shakespeare down at the Globe Theater in San Diego, and she was asking if anybody wanted to go, and she said, if I can get you guys, anyone, I think a free ticket if you can bring my husband down. And I said, hey, I'm sure you've had plenty of people asking, but we'd love to do it, and nobody had yet, so we took him down and had a great time. I think her parents were in town, so they watched their son, and it was awesome. It was really great, and she was fantastic. So that's really, that was my first true Deborah, seeing her act, and I thought she was fantastic in that. We ran into Dan, gosh, what's his name? He designed one of my favorite games recently, well, a couple years ago, I think it was 2019, Abomination. I really love that game. Let me see who, Dan, gosh, I know his name. This is bothering me. But we ran into him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and he did Abomination, and I think we just got a copy of my father's work, which hilariously he joined Renegade. I think he's working for Renegade developing games, and he was working on that, which is kind of the same. It is the same kind of theme. We loved that game, and it was great to meet him. He was there to see Deborah. Has this expansion been released yet? Yes, it is available now. It is. It just got. I think it was finally put out. It's not an expansion either. This is a full-on regular game. It was announced during the Kickstarter for the Metaverse Kickstarter, but it did not come out until December or early January. We had Travis Chance over to do with Deborah. We did what is that game called? Cthulhu Dark Providence, which is a redo of Studying Emerald. And so there was Travis, who works for CMON, and his the SoCal guy came over, and they were saying that it was due soon, and this was in December. I'm trying to look up Abomination. The Era of Frankenstein. So yeah, 2019. Dan Blanchett. Come on, man. I should have remembered that. Anyway, he was awesome, and was excited to see that, and it was great to meet him. And I'd seen him since then. I saw him at Gen Con in 2020. Maybe that Gen Con immediately following that, because I think it was during the summer when we saw that, like in June or July. And so, Deborah was away for that for 2 months. And I sparingly put out her episodes. Most fun playing? Dim, is that what you're asking? Oh, I miss Sarah and Nick too. They live on the East Coast. It's kind of rough. We actually have Matthew Monin, who did the he's talking about coming. Matthew Monin did goodness gracious, what was the game? Oh, Carnival Zombie in 2016, which was our first really long episode. Although maybe this War of Mine was longer. I always think that was one, but I think it actually was this War of Mine. I think that was before that. Now the longest one is Great Western Trail, I think is the longest one now. New Zealand, that was 4 hours. It's a lot of, we're all particular, and our friend Russ was teaching the game, and he wanted to do it because he loves it, and I was like, for sure, because we kind of wanted to do it. I mean, I love Alexander Pfister's work. I'd never played any of those games, and it just took a long time. Nikki had played it once, the original game, and then Mike had played all of them except for that one recently, a bunch, not recently necessarily. And so it worked out okay, but it was just a little too long. It was hard for me because I actually couldn't see the game being taught. It was all being taught on the Zoom camp because those pieces were so tiny, and the board and all, it was a huge amount of stuff on the player board, on the game board, and so it was hard for me to see it. So I actually kind of was like going through it without really knowing what was going on. I didn't want to. I was asking questions, and then I just got tired of asking questions because I'm sure I was driving everybody crazy as they were trying to figure out what to do. I think I did okay on it though. It was a downer because Nikki should have done better. I thought she was doing great, and then it just kind of fell apart. But Russ, he knew what he was doing. He loves those games, and so he mopped up, which is totally fine. He loves that game. He was apologetic when he won. We played Cocopelli on Game Night a few years back when he came to town. He lives in England, UK, and he won that one. He's like, I know it really well. I'm sorry. I'm like, what are you talking about? You should win. You played the game, or you're teaching the game. Sometimes that's beneficial too. Sometimes. We did. Somebody asked my favorite game we probably played. I don't know. I'll say my recent one was Green team wins. That was awesome. We had 6 of us. It was for the 500th episode. It was really a fun game. And everybody had a great time. Wow, that startled me. I don't know why I'm not seeing what it is here. Wow, I didn't see the pop-up. So, why didn't I see anything about that? That's very weird. Well, whoever just, I think that's a subscription. Thanks for the resubscription. Hopefully it'll pop up here. Oh, you know what? I probably can see it here. Let's see if I can. When I usually go to see this, it's not there. Wow. Let me refresh this. That was terrible, but it totally startled me. That's awesome. I don't know. Maybe it was a follow. Anyway, no, I know that I saw that one. It's interesting. We got that and we didn't see it. So who knows? Anyway, thanks a lot. No, oh, raid. That's what it is. It's a raid. Hey, Lucky Flesh Wound. There we go. Now I know. That makes more sense. I forgot we actually had the same sound. What am I looking at here? Wow. Oh, goodness gracious. I can't even see what we've got rolling here. What a mess. Hopefully it's all still there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, thanks for the raid. So I'm working on Marvel United Spider-Geddon. It's awesome. I love these minis. Right now I'm working on Morlun. He is the last one that I will be doing of this series. I got many, many more of these to paint. Focus. There was another game we were asked to do some stuff for, and it was going to be painting minis, so I was going to paint some of the stuff on stream, but they wanted us to like have more advanced levels in playing the game, and we can't do it. The issue is we just can't have people come back to do the same game and not film it. We just don't have the time. And you know, it's tough for us, as I was saying earlier, it's tough for us to get 4 right now. Everybody's busy. We have 3 that are, well, 4, because Rusty is very, very busy, and then Mike is pretty darn busy. His job is really killing him. So it's just Nikki and I, and we could have probably advanced on it, but we just sent that, well, no, we haven't sent it off yet. It was going to go out the door today, but it had a ton of minis. And I was disappointed because I would like to paint them, but I really don't need to paint more minis. Not right now. At least it'd be a smaller bunch. Oh my gosh, Leo Goes to the Barber's awesome. I forgot about that one. That is a great one. It's too hilarious. It's like, we always blame Aaron that he is the secret, the saboteur. We're saying, it's a cooperative game. We were saying he's a saboteur on that game. So Leo Goes to the Barber is a Leo Colavini game. And the funny part about that is Leo Colavini's bald. It is just a crazy kids game. And it only got released here. Hasbro did some sort of a loot box or something like that. And it was part of that. So you could get it. And it was actually kind of a lesser quality one than the actual Abacus Spiel, I think is who did that. Which was a downer, because I love that game. I really wish it was available for more. Now, it's a kid's game, so, you know. Anyway. The purple looks pretty good. I mean, it's still not dry. That's a little too wet in there. Let's see if I can draw a tiny bit out of that. This palette is just, it focuses on that, and it's a downer. Oof, it's really kind of gelled up, so probably too late. Now, what's going to happen is it'll be more of a coffee stain in there, but it's okay. I will just make that whole channel darker, which it should be. But yeah, I should have pulled that out before. You kind of want to, whenever you have that pooling, you want to take it out because it's what they call coffee staining and it gets a little too dark. I don't actually mind it too much. I think I have one mini here that I will show you that I sort of fixed it. Is it this one? Yeah, so this was bad. So here's another thing, don't touch it. Like I just touched that, it could be bad. This is too flat, but it did a coffee stain and then I tore it. So what happens is it builds a film. When it's drying, it gets a film. And if you tear it, like I did on the shoulder, I actually did that here. It's okay though now, it's dried up pretty good. But I was able to, this is not the one I think that I was mostly successful on. Let's see, maybe it was this one. I think it was this one. I think this was pretty bad here. And you can still see it has a little bit of a tear, but I got it blended in pretty well after the fact. So you can work with it. One of the things you can do is you can just paint a bit of the primer underneath there. And usually what I do is get a gray that is close to what we've got going on there. And then go with that. Let's see here. Where is the photo? Morlun. His hair is gray. Wow. I think I'm gonna have to paint it well, let's do his flesh, which I should have done first, and see how that does it. I may do like a very thin wash of like the basilicanum gray for his hair. It's very dark in the back though. How bright is it? It's dark here too. So it's pretty awesome. He looks like the Joker. Plus his eyes look like they're fire. Or maybe that's just reflecting the fire. I know nothing about Morlun. Hey, it looks like it's purple in there too. Okay, let's do that before we move on. Actually, yeah, let's do it. Let's see what's going on. I can't really see it. It's a lot of purple. I think his shirt is purple. That's weird. Why would you do that as purple? I guess it's a cravat or something like that, but I'm going to try to do this delicately so I don't get any on the neck, because I want the flesh. I'm sorry, it's not in focus. I want the flesh tone to be correct. It's usually why I do it first, because I can actually. Well, here's the deal. One of the things you can do to protect yourself is varnish the paint after you've done it. If you varnish it afterwards, it's a lot easier to clean up a mistake. So that's one reason why I like to, but I like to do the face first because I usually go from the inside out. So like, I absolutely should have painted this, this shirt or cravat or whatever, first, because it's way deep. Then if I got some on the top of that, I can put a bit of gray on there, and then cover it up on top of that with the next color or whatever, the darker color or the lighter color. Now, again, I already got some on his vest, so I'm going to try to touch that up later. I was not careful there. My goal is to not paint any paint on the vest. I obviously will be doing some now because I just spilled stuff or overpainted it. Yeah, these are great though. This one's a neat mini too. And I have no idea what this character is. He's a villain, so that I can figure that out eventually. What color are her hands? Oh, they're flesh, they're not gloves. Now if I get flesh on this purple, it won't be a big deal, right? It's a lighter color theoretically than this purple. And that's just the way I do it. You can develop whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm very disappointed I got, I've done okay. I did Kingpin, and I was very excited on that one. That was why I was very excited about these Spider-Man ones, to just do the grayscale one, because I had a great time painting that one. I've done a couple things since then. I wished I'd done, is it Nebula? No, it was Gamora's armor. You know, I didn't paint hers, but I also went back and did some stuff. So I would have preferred that it was like this. So I'll show you Kingpin. He turned out great. And so I didn't paint his, I did just the undercoating. And then I did do some accentuation in the folds, but you can see right here I messed up. And so it's fine, it's not great, but it's different, it's a different tone. I probably should use the white primer that I have, which I use not Basilicon, I use, what is it called? I can never, it's a weird name. It's from Badger. It's called, That's a reach. Steinelrez, boy, that's a weird name. This stuff is great. I bought this a couple years ago now, and I still have a lot. I mean, I think I still have 3/4 of a bottle. It's gone a long way, and I've painted a lot of minis because it's already primed. It's already mixed to prime or to paint through your airbrush, and so it was awesome. So yeah, this is great. And what I did here is I varnished his pants, his slacks, first, and then painted the pinstriping. And so if I messed up, it was okay. Turned out great. Oh wow, I forgot about Rhodey here, the Iron Patriot. I forgot I'd done some OSL. Not great. I could probably go back and do a little bit. I don't know that I airbrushed it. I think I hand painted that. Anyway, that was cool. And I also did some OSL on Doctor Strange. Yeah, isn't that great, Neon Thief? That is just the that is the undercoating. It's so great. But yeah, this one's cool, and I paint, you know, his hands. There's the glow from his spells that he's casting there. But yeah, it turned out cool too. But they are cool. Okay, so Morlun is getting dry. Will I do another coat of purple? Probably, maybe not. Looks pretty good. It's very close to what's going on there. I will probably do some edge highlights and stuff like that. So let me see, I might as well show you how to do it. If I can mix a little bit of the gray. My issue is, of course, the white has dried and there's a lot of paint in there, so I'm sure, oh wow, it is pretty. So here you go, this just popped out of the, this little pool of it popped out of the silicone paint thingy. It's great, but boy, I'm sure, I mean, that's how fast paint dries here. What time is it? Oh, it's 7:15. I've still got some time. Good. I have dinner. Nikki's making dinner, so I don't want to be too late. So what is the deal with the little, whatever that is called? It's a red gem. Yeah, I don't know. I love these minis. They're really fun to paint. So that was not clean. I mean, it wasn't dry. So it was wet, so I have to get a little bit more paint. So let me clean that cup out. I don't want any dry paint. I love these silicone. So Adam Smasher, Uncle Adam, told me about this at Gen Con using one of these palettes. And I'm like, huh. And then he did a video about it a couple weeks later, and I immediately ordered the ones he recommended because this is amazing. It is a great palette, particularly for stuff coming out of a dropper bottle. And you don't want too much, and it's less of a surface area, so it takes longer to dry. Now, in the paint case of this white, it dried pretty quickly. This has a lot of pigment in it, so that could be one reason why it dried. Maybe not as much moisture. Anyway, I just don't like these dropper bottles with the twist tops because it's always more paint than I want. I try to just do the tiniest amount, and then it leaves a big drop on top of the bottle, so I slide that into the palette, and it just makes a mess. Sick of Catan, but are there any other plans for game nights of other Catan versions? I love the regular and Space when y'all played. Probably not. I think Catan is one of my favorite games of all time. I really love the Starfarers of Catan. I love that one. I actually think it's the better version of the game for beginners, sort of. There's some hard stuff about it, but ultimately it's not that hard. And it's really a great game, really fun. And it was great because Deborah and Gabby had never played any Catan before. Recommend his friend who is a special teacher and can control paint in the classroom with this. Awesome. I'm happy that you love it. Are you talking about the Pop-It thing? These are amazing. Hey, David. Got done with my obligations for the day. As I'm getting ready to wrap it up here, I'm getting close. I'll probably go a little bit closer to 8. I think Nikki said the dinner would be about ready at 8. I think this is cool. These were from Amazon. It was a, what is the name of it? I should just leave this visible here. It's Johan and John In case you can't see that. It's 2, so they came with this one, which you could totally use it. I just like the lighter palette so I can see a little more clearly, but ultimately it's not that hard. Hey, there's still more. Maybe I'll paint one of the rims of one of the bases if I have enough left. Okay. I mean, I'm not really worried about wasting too much paint. My paint bottles generally go a long time. I just get frustrated with the, wow, it needs to be the tiniest amount of this black though, so I'll go over here. Now the issue is, of course, it's not the same white, so it could be warmer. I mean, I feel like I'm going to make sure this brush is super clean. Because I don't want to have... Now, I'm going to do a tiny wedge of white, so it's not the same as it was on... or gray, excuse me. It's not the same that was on the Kingpin, even though it turned out great. It's not a big problem. Nobody's going to see that. So I kind of inch my way up to it. This is still probably too light. And I don't care about it if it gets a little bit of the white in the black. Now, I could, number one, varnish this and then paint over it. I'm not really worried about that. Now this paint will dry fast. It doesn't have a deep pool. I don't think this is it though. It actually looks like, now you have to wait for it to dry. Too light. Immediately I can tell. Is how it works though. Now the good thing is the Citadel paints don't reactivate when you get them wet. I mean, if you let them dry long enough. Oof, pop off here. So my part of the problem is now it's wet where I tried to clean that up. We have most of the Catan stuff though. There's a few, like the Incas one I don't own, which I'd like to have. We like the historical ones. We have a lot of Catan. The biggest problem is just availability on some of that stuff. Some of them just aren't available anymore. Yipes, I just popped that off. I think the Incan one came out after, we saw that at Spielwarenmesse, which was, 2020. And then the US version came out considerably later. Oof, I think that might be too dark. Although, you know what? It doesn't matter as long as it's not purple. Maybe that will look like a shadow of the vest. No, of the jacket, of the coat. Okay, so there we go. Let's see. So I just blend it in. And that looks pretty good. Now it will look a little different because it's not airbrushed, but it won't be enough to worry about it. And I think the buttons will distract. I'm kind of wondering what the heck the buttons are. They look like they're purple, so I'm just going to go with it. Do some purple buttons. I got the purple right now here. And this will just distract you anyway from that little bit of white, but it looks way better. Might need to do it on the other side. Do I have purple on here? No, I do not. Let's just do it a wee bit to make that line crisp. Okay, so that's a little light on that side. That looks good. You won't notice it. It does not match though. Once, as I said, it's not the same color. It is weird. It's the temperature of that white paint. Not the same. You know what, Neon Thief? The best way to do it is put your hands together. Oh yeah, the poppets are fantastic. Actually, our friend has special ed. Derek, our editor, his children, both of his boys are autistic, and they have the poppets all over. He says they're great. Too bad he doesn't paint minis because he'd have some around to use as a palette. But he has said the same thing. They're very great about calming the kids down. So, worth it. Yeah, these are great. I wished I had just some floating around. I didn't have any. So I had to pay, I think they were $16. It's not bad. There was one that was a little cheaper. It was white, but it was a baseball. It was the same kind of shape as this one, almost identical probably. But they painted red stitching for the baseballs, and so that didn't bother me. It was the fact that it wouldn't get there quickly. I wanted these like right away. And okay, so a little bit of red for the gem. Or cameo, I don't know what that is. It's a clasp of some sort. But yeah, Neon Thief, if you hold these like this, you can actually steady your hand a lot. I mean, I'm not super shaky, but I can be shaky, and it's very simple to control your strokes, and it's fantastic. Or, you know, rest your hands. My vision is pretty good here. Like, I could paint this just without, I mean, hilariously, I go and I paint stuff with our friends, my friend in Germany when we visit. I have, I'll show my Warhammer mini I painted recently. He's the most advanced one, I think. Of course, they're all out of whack now. I think this is the one. No, but that one's pretty good too, but that's not it. It's probably this one. Clunk, nope, that ain't it. Boy, what did I do? Is this the guy? Yeah, this is the one. They're like the space dwarves. They were called squats, it used to be called. They are now called the Leagues of Votan, or the Hearthkin and the Leagues of Votan. But yeah, I forgot my glasses. So I borrowed Nikki's when I did the edge lining. But I did this, you know, if I have it far enough down, I can see without glasses. But like when I get really close, I need the magnifiers because I just can't see that close. So I think that helps too if you have it, you know, depending on where you can do it. If you can do it on the table, that would help if your vision's good. Probably I can do it with the readers down here, and it would probably be pretty solid. I just try to get it a little closer to the camera. I don't want to futz with the zoom. It's actually not easy. That looks cool though. Let's do the red of the gem so that if I mess it up, I don't mess up the skin tone. Like I said, you also have to think about like what's darker, what's lighter. I don't like to stress about it too much. So we're gonna do Flesh Terrors red. It looks like a darker red. And you know, they do some of the typical gem highlighting. I'll show you here. I have a GW mini right here that I painted, goodness gracious, 14 years ago now. I never finished him. I might have painted him in 2010. So what happened is I painted the whole, for Space Hulk, I painted the whole Marine contingent, and then Scott was like, it would be great if we could get painted ones for the BGG library. I'm like, okay. So I brought mine, and then, you know, I spent a lot of time on, I think it's like 5 or 6 units, I don't know. And so he gave me a full new set to paint. And so these gems, somebody was asking earlier about gloss, about it looking plasticky, but here's where gloss is amazing. It makes these gems look really cool. And so what you do is you paint it, and then you put like like the light coming in and then blooming at the bottom of the gem based on where it's pointed and stuff. So I'll probably do a little tiny bit of that. I had, I think, more patience than I have now when I did this one. But that's traditional acrylics. They're not contrast paints. But I am going to do this with contrast paints. So I think, have I ever tried coloring bigger size figures? Well, these are the largest ones that I have ever done. I do have, I think really it is the biggest I've ever done. I've never done like busts or anything like that. I'm just not that, I'm number one, not interested because I don't have display space for that kind of stuff. Thanks, Neon Thief. Yeah, that one's fun. It's a traditional, I was trying to do like what they call heavy metal painting. And there's elements I would change, but I like them. I think it's cool. I like the little purity scrolls. You know, I did okay on those. I was doing them on something else recently. What was I doing it on? I don't remember. But yeah, there's some more of the gems. They look cool. I did like the edge highlighting, and then I did metal like it was scraping through the paint. But those are fun. That's a pretty big mini. The Terminators are even larger now. Since that miniature came out, they now have the Primaris Marines, and that is drastically larger. Well, not drastically, but considerably larger. And so it's even bigger than that now. I actually want to buy, I don't want to buy a lot of minis, but I do want to buy a set of the new Primaris Terminators, and I will get them. They're not terribly expensive, and I do want to play the game. We're going to try it. Nick and I were going to try. Nick Murphy and I are going to try to do something. It's just hard to actually get that to happen. Yeah, it's cool. I probably will do more purple, maybe on the cloak, because it's a little splotchy back here. So, I got the red. I always use these. These are harder to find, but they're still available. I found them at, these are from GW. But when you're using these bottles, man, they spill so easily. That's why the contrast paints bottles are a little, I don't love them a lot. They're not, I don't like these lids. They clog up with paint. But painting directly from the pot, when you want to do that, is awesome from these. Like, you can't do that. That's where this pop palette is a good thing, because, you can paint directly from that spot if you use dropper bottle paints. Like, I have some, Vallejo, although model colors changed. They changed that stuff a bunch. I have some paints that I've I love this purple you can't get anymore. Actually, the color I really love is this one, the Warlock purple you can't get anymore. Although I think of it as a pink. I decanted these into a smaller bottles, shaker bottles. I need to check them. I'm not sure. Those bottles are not great. I was ultimately disappointed with them. Okay, a little bit of contrast medium. Hey, L Fire Spray, how you doing? Oh my gosh, I've been seeing some of the stuff you've been posting. Beautiful, beautiful work. I'm jealous. Elle, you should check out her streams. She's awesome. And look at her Instagram. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So, we're going to paint this gem. I probably should use the tiny brush, even though I'm, You actually, so here's the deal. When you look at this brush, no, we can't go to Adepticon, Elle. I've never been, and I would love to go. I really wanted to go to Las Vegas Open. I can't, I have so many other cons right at the same time. It's kind of a bummer. We will be very busy. We'll be gone in like 3 weeks' time, and then we come back, and then we go again. I'm supposed to go to another convention at the end of March, which I don't think we can do. I feel really bad because they invited us this year, and it's a small thing for creators, content creators, and I would so love to meet a lot of those people, or just have some time to. It's like a long weekend, I think. So we'll see. It sucks because I would really like to go. We're already going to be in the area, but we already have tickets. We're flying back home just before that thing starts. I don't really know. It's really a downer. But yeah, Elle, your Shatterpoint stuff has just been amazing. I have Shatterpoint and I want to paint it. I just haven't had time. But the goal is that I get these done, and I'm close. I will hopefully pick up something like that and start painting those as well. I would love to paint Shatterpoint. Although I will, yeah, hopefully, Al, maybe one of these days. I've only ever been to one miniatures focused convention, and that was 20 years ago. It was what they used to call Games Days. Games Workshop Games Days, and it was awesome. Nikki and I both went. And it was just one day, but it was awesome. And I don't think there was any painting. There was like some, quick paint things where you could like learn how to paint and get one mini or something like that, which is awesome. So that red looks good, and I'll just do some highlighting on it. So if I'm going to do highlighting, it's different here, right? So I'm going to probably have to do that with a standard acrylic, not the. I mean, you could do. So the neat thing now, this dried really quickly. You could do wet blending with contrast paints. I've done it before many times, and they look quite great. This is a good red. This is the Flesh Terrors red. I think I was very disappointed. I'm very happy with this red. I've used it a lot on the Marvel stuff, the ball red. It is a single pigment paint, so it's not quite, doesn't work like a standard contrast paint, because contrast paints have multiple colored pigments in them, and they settle into the to the folds and stuff like that. So this is not necessarily a great kind of finish for contrast paints. You want more organic stuff. But I think that the zenithal method works pretty good, and they look pretty solid. They'll look nice on the table. The gem is where he draws his power. I know nothing about that stuff. So let's see if I need to let it dry. So let's do the flesh. I don't think I need any more of the red. So the flesh I use is Guilliman flesh, which I thought was terrible. I will tell you this now. I thought it was the worst color. It's too dark. I mean, there's plenty of flesh tones where the straight color is awesome. I will show you one that I showed you earlier. This is Shuri, right? That was the one I showed earlier. She is that same color directly out of the pot. And it looks great. I really think her skin looks amazing. So then you go to this one. This is exactly the same color. But you use the contrast medium to thin it out, and it comes into a lighter flesh tone. It is amazing. It's a great color and super flexible. It is really, really, really cool. Wow, his eyebrows look like there's no color. They're just skin toned. Huh. The folks at you should look at them. You can look at the Kickstarter and see the painted minis in their updates. The folks at Big Child are just such great painters and great sculptors. I don't know the organization. I'm sure it's several, at least a few folks. But they're just great. I really love their stuff. So I'll do this, and once again, I'm going to try to do it the right way, as it is called, where I will put in contrast medium first and then add a little bit of color to build it up. My feeling is with the flesh tones, you can start out with it light and then just build it up till it's the darkness that you want. It's really amazing. Let's see if I have, I know I have Akuyo. Where is she? I have not put them in a box. I kind of am glad I haven't. I have, this is the same skin tone. I mean not the same skin tone, same paint. Where is she? And here's another cool one. This is Valkyrie, and I believe I use the same. His looks maybe a little bit different, but I think I use the same skin tone. But these are the same paint. I say skin tone, but I mean color. Where's Akoyo? Darn it, hers is great. I should be able to see her. She is bald. I'm doing a terrible job here. Wow. I can't see anything. I mean, I see them, but I can't pick her out of the crowd. How does she look? That's cool. Scarlet Witch. Darn it. She's awesome too. Really another. Oh, here she is laying down. That is why I can't see her. She fell down. But look at her. Her skin looks great. And I love their eyes. I mean, I love this size. It's so much fun to paint, you know, the details. What's gotten on her back? This is my fear about varnishes and putting them inside of something, is that, okay, it's just a piece of fleck of something. But she looks great. And I just, the flesh tone, Guilliman flesh is awesome. I'm so happy. It's hilarious. Initially, I thought it was a problem. So I went actually back to look for a flesh tone. And the example they have on the rack is they show it in the shades from left to right, and they show it goes light to dark. I'm like, wow, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, oh, and I had contrast medium from the get-go. I'm like, oh, I'm not using contrast medium, how silly. And now it's just wonderful, but you can see how dark it is here in the pot. But I'm gonna put the contrast medium into the pop-it thingy first, and then inch up towards the color I want. Where's my little paint spreader? I use these, so I bought these paintbrushes from Royal and Langnickel, and they give you one of each of these, I think maybe to make it a round number, but I also think it's to protect the bristles. It's taller than the actual paintbrushes. Anyway, I love them because they're great little mixing tools. I like to just take it out of the pot and then drop them in a little bit at a time. I'm really eager to try the new, I mean, you know, the hyperbole is crazy, but I'm eager to try the new Army Painter, oh goodness, oh, War Paint Fanatic, or Fanatic War Paints, or whatever, War Colors. They look great. Adam actually is working for them I mean, I'm excited. I can't wait to see what goes on with that. I don't know. He told us about it, that it was happening at Gen Con, and then I didn't hear anything. I'm like, did I misunderstand him? And then he did a video about their paints, and he didn't mention that he worked for them. I'm like, huh. And then the next week he announced he was working for them, which is great. So maybe I wouldn't have done the video like that. But maybe he was waiting. Like, he probably was actually waiting. He was just waiting for the announcement. You can't really say anything until they do make the announcement. But yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to see how they work. I don't need them all. I actually looked up the cost. It's not terribly expensive, but if you buy them all, it's 216 paints or something like that, in shades and inks and stuff like that. But it's going to be $750 or something like that. I'm like, I was messaging him because I was asking if he was going to be streaming or if he was heading to, what was I thinking he was going to? I guess it was Las Vegas Open. Wow, that seems like it was too long ago. But anyway, and he said he was going to be there, and I said, you know, I'd congratulate him on the announcement. He was telling me that, you know, that they won't be terribly expensive, you know, ultimately. And you don't need everything, right? They have these things called triads, and triads are 3 tones at different shade, you know, intent, you know, like light to dark, and they come with 6 triads. So I mean, 6 paints that equal 4 triads, and you don't need them all, right? That's the one downer about like the triad system, is I feel that I mean, I don't know how I think they're just, the pigment is matched to make that work instead of like adding white or whatever. But yeah, you don't need all of them if you're going to do it. So we'll see how it goes. I will definitely buy some. And I've seen some videos. I think Vincent did one on them, and it was a good video. And you know, there's a lot of Stolly on Tale of Painters or Tale of Paint. He does all of the stuff, and he's very, very deep. And wow, that is not very dark. I will let it dry. I can't let that chin dry like that. But you can see maybe where I'm going here. He's a very flesh-tony flesh color. But you have to let it dry because they are not like regular acrylics. Although you don't want to tear regular acrylics either. So I have the black. Let's do this right now while I'm waiting for this to dry. It may not even be dry enough before I'm done. The nice thing about contrast medium is it doesn't increase the drying time. It is the same medium as the paint without the pigment. So it goes quickly. When you use any of these other mediums, you could be waiting. So I will use this brush. What I do is when I wash my brushes, I leave a little bit of the brush soap in it to help keep the point and like straighten it back out. It especially works with, I use this brush cleaner. It especially works with natural hair. These are synthetic, so it's not really going to do that great of a job. So what I do is I paint the edge, and some people go, you know, you want to make sure you get to the other end of it before it dries. Some people go the other way. I don't know why, but this works better for me going the opposite direction. Like, you know, keep the edge on this one here. I'm sure it's just my imagination, but Adam did a live stream for us during the pandemic. We had we called Virtual Con. So, you know, we have our BGG cons in May and in November. And so we had the Virtual Con, because I think it was called BGG at Home, the first one in May. And Adam painted some of these from the very first box. We bought him a box and he painted the Hulk. And man, I don't remember if it was Iron Man or something, maybe. But he got me like, oh my gosh, I got to get going on these. And he did this method with the contrast, the zenithal highlight and the contrast paints, and I was like, wow. So that was why I decided to start. We started streaming it, Scott and I did, the next in 2021, and it was cool because, you know, Scott was painting. He painted with me when I brought that set of Space Hulk. I hadn't painted the Gene Stealers. So he and I and another friend of ours painted them all very quickly, but we had a really great time. So it's already dry over here, so I won't tear anything. And so I think that maybe I don't know, my brain has it that I've kind of overpainted some of the wet, which you shouldn't do. So I go that way, and I used to paint it this way, and I feel that I'm better the other way, but maybe I'm normally faster. I'm not very fast here today, so maybe that's the difference. I was talking too much too. Ben Riley Spidey. Triads for years, yeah. I'm sure that's great. And that's for standard acrylic, that's the way to go. So now there's a lot of paints that do the triads. So initially the first ones that did it were the airbrush colors from Army Painter. And I have never bought any of those. I don't actually have a lot of Army Painter stuff. I have some of the speed paints now. I'm going to probably get more. And I bought the Strong Tone, and I think mostly Strong Tone. It's one of the colors that is a replacement for like Agrax Earthshade. Is that what it is? Reichland Flesh Shade? No. Seraphim? No. Maybe I may be wrong. But it's one of the ones that replaces that, and it's great. I have it right here. It is almost identical to one of the other colors. I can't remember what it is. I thought it was Agrax Earthshade. Agrax Earthshade actually may be the mud. I don't know. I can't remember. These names are crazy. But yeah, here's Strong Tone. It's a quick shade. And these are great. These washes are fantastic. Wow, that is very solid sounding. Haven't used it for a little while. I only really use it on standard acrylics. Wow, that really sounded bad. You're not supposed to shake these very much. I don't know if they have shaker balls. So I know that, mixing balls. I know that the new ones have mixing balls in them. I'll show you. I have this Fire Giant Red or Orange. Is that right? Yeah. And it comes with 2 mixing balls. Inside, I believe, yeah, it shows 2. And it's great. Like inside the bottle right away is the way to do it. I just haven't used those very much. The reason why I bought that is that was what this mini, the orange here was this color. And ultimately I think this Griffhound orange might be similar. But I like that orange and I didn't want to take any chances. Not that it matters, they're mostly all painted. I just need to finish them up. That's something I need to work on as well. Okay, well, his flesh is drying. It's a very dark chin. Now, I did apply more. You can't see that. I did apply more. So let's just keep going because I do have it the right tone. Was I using this brush? I don't remember. No, I think I was using this one. Ugh, there's black in there now because I did that, so I don't want any of that in the flesh. Ugh. I do love this thing. There's actually smaller versions of this stuff. Green Stuff World makes one that's, I think they just had another company, they got another company's mixing thing. But this has like a tank above it. It's like a 16-ounce bottle or maybe a little more than that, 22, of water, and it's inverted and it goes into this little pool. And then there's a button with a drain at the bottom. You press the button and the drain opens and the water flows out and it fills back up. It's really great. It's just a little big. The other one's a little long, but I have not seen one in real life, so I don't really know its actual size. I was tempted to buy one. Amazon had some that looked identical to the Green Stuff World ones. So you can see it's already a good shade darker with the second coat. Now I'm not going to put any more on his chin right now because it is dark. So you kind of want his nose to be a little bit lighter, so maybe don't over apply too much there. Now I'm painting some on his neck, which you're not even going to notice. It's so dark. In this case, I mean, so I've sprayed more on his face up front because I want you to see that, pay attention to it. His face is like one of the important parts of the mini. Not always painting the greatest faces, but there we go. Wick a little bit away from the eyes. Now I'm already touching it and it's gelling, so don't touch it anymore. Let it dry before you do any more. You have to be patient, man. It is definitely a slow process. Slower process than the regular speed paints. It is cool. He looks great. I'm nervous about the fire stuff. Fire starter. I think what I will do is airbrush the color. I will mask him as best I possibly can and then worry about doing the shading that I'm going to do for the OSL. And then paint this with the rest of the stuff, this stone that he's standing on, whatever this is. And then I will paint a grayscale color over it and then edge light it. That's what he's got, the Big Child Creatives got going on there. And I think that might work. That looks cool. Very cool. Okay, so do I need more purple in the cravat area or whatever the heck's going on there? The frilly cravat. Oh, don't go in there with too much paint. We did, on this week's episode, we actually have a thing pop up now for the scores, which I don't like to focus on the scores because it's not really, I mean, yeah, you want to try to win, but that's not the real importance. But Scott really wanted it, and some people have asked about it, so Nikki did an animation for it, and it turned out nice. The issue, of course, is I have to bug her to make them. She did them in After Effects. I could probably do it. She made it so it's redoable, but I just said, well, just let you do it. I just hate to bug her when I'm trying to race to get an episode done. But I told her we should also just record what we scored so that so that she can make them right away, and we'll just save them till the episode comes out. Let me put a little bit more of the contrast medium in here, and I think I'm going to just do another coat of the purple on the coat. I don't remember. I was trying to make it similar, but I don't think I did. I don't remember how much contrast medium I put in there first. It's way better to see, like, if you have a standard amount that you do, you can keep mixing, you know, count the droplets. That's one thing I think that this works for me anyway, where dipping the end of your brush, or this fake brush, into it, because it doesn't have any bristles, it's just the handle. It will give you the roughly the droplet size, right? Since I'm not using a dropper. Wow, that seems like it's too thin, but it doesn't matter. It's going on another coat already, so maybe it'll even it out. But I do want it to be very flowy, so I'm probably gonna, I don't know, his jacket doesn't seem, his coat doesn't seem very shiny, but I think it should be kind of satiny. So I might use a shinier varnish. So the shinier varnishes are definitely more durable. Too much paint. They're definitely more durable than the matte ones. So that's another thing to think about. So satin is probably pretty good, but I think it's a little too shiny for me most of the time. This track, all this music's from Epidemic Sound. This one always reminds me of Vegas. I haven't been to Vegas in a long time now. We used to go annually for Thanksgiving, meet Scott and Michelle there. They were just, you know, the family stuff was a little bit too much for them all the time. They do Christmas and stuff like that, but so they would go to that, and we would go after Christmas dinner because our families would be flipping out. But we also came with our families once, a couple times too. We'd go see, like, we love seeing the Beatles Love. And we see some other Cirque du shows, Cirque du Soleil. I think the last time we went was 2019. Wow, okay, 5 years ago, almost, because it was May. Ugh, I just got on his white coat, or his vest. So I was able to pull it off there. I just got my wet brush and just pushed it away. So it should be enough, but I'm being a little too sloppy with it. You know, you're supposed to put this on kind of heavy so that you can avoid the coffee staining, and because it'll dry fast. You know, I mean, it dries pretty quick. It's not as fast as a traditional acrylic, but it's still, I feel, pretty darn close. And you know, I'm saying straight acrylics without any kind of additives like flow improve or anything like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. It's a little too, shucks. I can see it here. Let me put some in the water, see if I can get it off. I didn't quite get it off. Thought I did. Okay, that's pretty good. I will be the only person that notices that. So I'll let that dry. What time is it? It's 7:57. I better go. So that's where I'm at. I didn't finish it. I'm hoping I will be done with this next week. And I will be painting on Tuesday morning. I hope to be done with this, but I might not be able to. We have some more filming Nikki and I need to do for date night this weekend. So we'll see. Thanks, Neon Thief. We actually don't like to make a big deal about the winning. That's why I don't like when there's like we've played some games where we've had to replay them, and when we replay them, Nikki and I aren't as competitive. We understand what we're doing. Our show is for enjoyment, and we want it to be smooth and quick and talking. If you're focusing too much on winning, you end up getting quiet. Dave, especially, who's one of the more boisterous players, gets very serious when he is when he's really trying. You know, it's like their reputation's online. I'm like, you guys don't need to worry about this. You know, this is. and everybody gets it now. It's just every once in a while. That's why I don't like replaying them, because whenever, like, the questions aren't being asked like what about the game, because they already know, right? And the questions we ask are almost always questions the audience has as well. So we like to have them. Let me cut to the other camera. Gotta be in the right area here. So yeah, it's a challenge, right? I know their joy. I mean, you know, like Deborah, who's a very, very great player and an amazing deck builder. Like, she's so good at figuring out the combinations, and I don't want to take their fun. They love doing that. So I try to move quickly, and Nikki tries to move quickly so that we don't counter it too much, but you know, they want to play well. I totally understand. So do I, so does Nikki. But especially me, my goodness, most of the time I don't even know how to play the game because I'm too worried about the technical stuff that I'm working on. But also the way we play games, it's not just game night. This is the way Dave kind of got. So we used to play, we love those guys and still know them, but we used to play with some guys that they play games when they're kids. And they are competitive and a little mean, but that's just their group. I know that group. I used to play that way too when I was younger. These guys are like 8 years younger than us or something like that. And they, it was fun, but it wasn't the same. When we first played with Dave, Dave is wonderful about telling you what you might be missing. Usually, it's hard. You can't always do that. I'm the same way. I've always liked, like, hey, I don't know that that's a good move. And you know, you'll see it sometimes on the show. And some people are stubborn and they're going to do exactly what they want, and that's fine. That's what they should do. But I want people to know how to play the game, and I want people to see the strategies. And the way that works is by us being open and speaking about it. Like, we played open face on Acquire, and some people were shocked by that. But it's like, why bother? Like, why spend the time figuring out? Mike loves Acquire, and he only plays it that way because it's like, it just moves things quicker. You're not, you know, yes, you can target people, you know, okay, they have this many stocks, but they're going to take a guess anyway. And it's just better to be accurate on it. Anyway, and we also, I didn't exploit that too much. I did a little bit. When it starts to get, when you're running out of stocks, you're like, can I take this one? You know? But I really, you know, our group's fun, and I love having that kind of group. And I think that's what appeals to Deborah. She has played with other folks some games, and they were super competitive and mean, and she didn't like that, and she really likes our group. And that's how we like to play. I want everybody to have a shot. I want them to know when there's other options potentially. It's tough. Yeah, so you're saying the same, even if it hurts our game. Absolutely. I'm like, we played a game today when we were filming, and I told Nikki, I'm like, she's like, oh man. And she's like trying not to be mean to me. I said, Nikki, don't do anything to help me win. Do what you can do to be the best you can be here. Because the reality is she's a good player. And the game we were playing is a lot of luck. And you know, that sometimes it swings against you. You know, you have to be mellow about it and not, you know, we've never had anybody get angry about losing. The only time I've ever been frustrated is when we're just spending too much time. When you get the episodes get longer and longer, they just become more difficult to edit, and that's on my mind the whole time. Nikki as well, she knows how it is. She generally has the same thing, but occasionally, you know, you kind of forget. But I'm looking, we actually added a clock in against that wall over there that I can see, and I kind of wish we hadn't, because that was the only clock I couldn't see any clock before, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is getting towards 3 hours. This is a lot, right? It's hard to edit. And so it just makes, hey, take care, Elle. It just takes time, and it's difficult to, you know, you got to be patient. But it works, and I think everybody respects that. You know, it's pretty good, and the discussion's always fun. I like that too. I think our discussions are great. We have some great people with some good ideas, you know. And we're all pretty fast. I mean, we played a lot of games. So we're pretty fast at figuring out games nowadays. Occasionally, you know, so we get stuck. I've stopped the game when we're working. I'm like, guys, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, you know, because I missed too much of the teach. And so, like, I'll have them help me get my bearings. And, you know, you don't want that. I don't want anybody looking, you know, not smart. I want, you know, because I think we're all capable, and there's all kinds of things going on that make that more difficult sometimes. Anyway, I really appreciate you all joining me, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. I will be back on Tuesday, and then we'll be back next Thursday evening with a regular Game Night Live. Everybody take care and stay warm, because it's obviously cold all over the place. And let me see real quick if there's somebody we can raid. Now, YouTube people can't raid, unfortunately. But Twitch, Twitch. What am I seeing here? Well, there's only, it says we only got 15 people watching, but let's see. Oh, Bonzinator's streaming. So we're going to join Bonds. She's awesome. She's featured. Oh, by the way, if you go to BoardGameGeek.com /live, you will see our schedule, and that also shows the streams. We also have other streamers on there. Derek, who's our producer and produces our live streams and is our editor. He streams on Wednesdays. Wednesday evenings is a late night game stream, and we have Stephanie Hodge and Benita Kaur and Bonzinator, Adam Smasher. I have his streams on the front page. It's a great place to go to see other people streaming, and I generally fill out the full schedule for the month. So as we get closer to the end of the month, you don't see so much in the future, but I try to have Monday going, you know, the next month going as soon as I can. Anyway, you all have a great time. Let me go back to I think I'm in the wrong place. Oh, you know what? I'm on the wrong computer. That is the problem. Let me go back. I have it all here, much, much better and much more clear. I have it already set. So let's see if we can raid Bonds. There she is. Cool. Okay, everybody. Twitch people, if you would like to join in, just click that you'd like to go. And the folks on YouTube, thanks for joining me. I'm sorry you can't raid with us. Maybe come on over to the Twitch sometime. It's okay. It's more fun because of the raids. Actually, raids are awesome. Anyway, you guys take care. Let's see how this goes. Take care, David. Thanks, Elle. Thanks, Neon Thief. Thank you for joining. Thanks for all chatting with me. That's awesome. I really appreciate it. Keeps me entertained. And we are ready to go. Bye, everybody. Take care. Bye, YouTube.